everyone, it's Jennifer from Fiberflux. In this video, I'm going to show you how to crochet this beautiful falling leaves wreath. This is a super easy project that you can make quickly to decorate your home for fall. We're going to be making these very easy one round leaves and then just simply gluing them to a wreath form. It's a great way to use up some scraps, and we're going to do each leaf stitch by stitch. I'm going to show you how to do the leaves, and then we're going to assemble everything together. The finished wreath measures about 14 inches across. Now I used a 12-inch wreath form, but because of the leaves, it makes it a little bit bigger. However, you can really use any size wreath form you like because we're just adding leaves to it, so you can make more or less leaves depending on the size of your wreath form. So let's get started. For this project, you'll need a pair of scissors, a tapestry needle. We're going to be using a 9mm crochet hook. This is my Frills Candy Shop hook, in case you're wondering. I'll put the link in the pattern for that. We're also going to need a glue gun to attach your leaves. If you don't have a glue gun, you could sew them on or tie them on, would be okay too. I'm going to be using a 12-inch wreath form. Now you can use any style you like. There's lots of different ones out there. This is a wire one. I kind of like this one because it's flat and our leaves are flat, and so they'll kind of lay on there nice, but we're going to be covering the whole wreath, so it's not super important which style that you use. Just know that whatever you do pick, you will have to cover it, okay? As an option, you could grab some ribbon and put like a bow or something on here. This is some burlap that I have that's wired, and I really prefer the wired ribbon for wreath bows because when you store your wreath in the off season, sometimes it can get flattened out and the wire helps you kind of plump it back up. Now for yarn, you may recognize some of these colors. We're going to be using Wool Ease Thick and Quick, and this is not a color we're using, but I just wanted to show you the label, from Lion Brand. And this is a 6 super bulky on the yarn weight scale and recommends this 9mm crochet hook. And I'm going to just be using some scraps of this. Now you may recognize some of this yarn from some recent projects. These 3 colors here are from our crochet along, the autumn textures blanket that we've been making. And then this one over here and this color, and actually this color too, are from our autumn afternoon scarf. Now if you missed either one of those projects, I'll put the links down below for those because they're really nice fall projects as well, and I love a great fall project. So we're going to be using this super bulky yarn to make a bunch of leaves, and then we're going to attach them to our wreath form. So I just grabbed one of my colors and my hook, and I'm just going to zoom in. Now if you're doing multiple fall colors like I am, you'll want to do a mix of colors. So it doesn't have to be the exact equal number for each color, but just try to mix it up a little bit. You could also do this with one color, and that would be very pretty as well. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a one round leaf. It's super easy, and you can really crank out a bunch of these in one sitting, okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to take the yarn and wrap a loop around our fingers. Then we're going to take the yarn and bring it behind the loop you just made. Reach in with your hook, bring up a loop, and tighten. So that's how we put the slip knot on our hook. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to create a ring that we'll work our stitches into. As a side note, if you prefer the magic ring for this, you can obviously do that as well if you prefer. I know a lot of people like to do that. But for this, we're going to do a chain 4 to begin. To make a chain, wrap the yarn around the hook, bring it through the loop. That's 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, so that's our starting chain. Next, what we're going to do is join with a slip stitch in the farthest chain from the hook. So go all the way to the end, that very first chain that you made, insert the hook into that chain, bring up a loop. Now bring that loop through the loop already on your hook, and we now have the ring that we'll be working our stitches into. You can kind of open it up if you need to. Next, we're going to chain 3. 1, 2, 3. So this is going to count as one of our double crochets. The next thing we're going to do is work 5 double crochets into the center of the ring. So to make a double crochet, wrap the yarn around the hook, insert it into the center of the ring, bring up a loop. You'll have 3 loops on the hook. Wrap yarn around hook, bring through the first 2 loops. Wrap yarn around hook, bring through the last 2 loops. Okay, so that's 1. And then we're going to do 2. Let me get a little bit more yarn here. 3. 4, and 5, okay? So this is going to be kind of like the bottom part of our leaf. Next, what we want to do is in the center of the ring once again, and like I mentioned before, we're holding that tail along the edge as we work. So see how it incorporated it in? So the next thing we're going to do, and if you need to slide your stitches around and kind of shove them out of the way, that's okay. That'll give you a little bit more room in your ring. The next thing we're going to do is work 4 single crochets into the center of the ring. So insert the hook into the center of the ring, bring up a loop. You'll have 2 loops on the hook this time. Wrap yarn around hook, bring it through both loops. Okay, so that was 1 single crochet, and then 2, and then 3, sliding things over if needed, and then 4. Okay, so let's make the point, the top point of our leaf now. We're going to do that by working a treble crochet this time. So wrap the yarn around the hook 2 times, insert it into the center of the ring, bring up a loop. You'll have 4 loops on your hook this time. Wrap yarn around hook, bring it through the first 2 loops. Wrap yarn around hook, bring it through the next 2 loops. Wrap yarn around hook, bring it through the last 2 loops. We're starting to get sort of like a teardrop leaf shape. Okay, so once we're done our point, we're going to come back down and work the side of our leaf. Now, our tail has been incorporated enough, so I'm sort of going to just drop it down and not worry about it anymore. All right, so let's come down the side and work 4 single crochets. So 1, 2, 3, pushing things over if needed, and 4, okay? Then to finish our leaf, we're going to count 2 chains up and join with a slip stitch. So insert the hook into that chain, bring up a loop. Now bring that loop through the loop already on your hook, and our leaf is complete. Now it looks kind of mushed up right now. We're going to shape it up and kind of doctor it up a little bit, okay? So go ahead and lay that down, grab your scissors, and cut the yarn. It doesn't need to be a huge tail because we're not going to be tying it on or sewing it on to anything. If you do want to sew your leaf onto your form, then obviously you'll want a little bit longer of a tail, but I'm gluing mine on, so I don't need to do that. So wrap the yarn around the hook, pull it through to fasten off your leaf like that, okay? Next, what we need to do is, remember that tail we wove in? We're going to grab that tail and we're going to give it a nice firm tug and snip. Then we'll want to shape up our leaf a little bit. You want to sharpen up that top point. Get everything nice and shaped up. And again, it's going to be sort of a teardrop shape. Grab your tapestry needle. And this tail we do need to weave in. So the other one we sort of took care of, but this one we need to weave in. So thread your tapestry needle and then go in to the back loops of this is the front of our leaf, the side that faced you while you worked. And go in that way, okay? Just go in those back loops. Okay, and I gave it a little tug to sort of pull that knot in so the knot wouldn't be sticking out. And then give it a snip, okay? So what you'll want to do is make a whole bunch of these leaves using all of your colors and kind of mix them up as much as possible. And then once we've made a bunch of these, now depending on your wreath form, you know, what I would do is take your wreath form and sort of lay it down as you go and sort of plan so you know how many to make. Or you can stop after you've made a bunch of them and sort of lay them out and just to see where you're at. But depending on your size wreath form and the shape, if yours is more curvy and round, you may need more of them to cover it. If you have a little tiny wreath, obviously you'll need less. So go ahead and make a bunch more leaves, and we're going to rejoin after we've made a bunch of these, and I'm going to show you how to attach them. And also, if we want to do a little easy bow on there too, you can do a nice little bow. Okay, so we did some fall leaves in a variety of colors. We did the orange and this mustard and the cream and the barley, and we have a nice mix of all the different colors. Now I had a little bit of more of the mustard, so mine will be a little heavier on that color. But once you've gotten them all done, you can trim the tail you wove in, weave in the ends, or you could even put a little dab of glue and put your tail right on the back and trim it up. So let's kind of shift all these over. Now I've been heating up my glue gun also over here to the side, and you might want some extra glue sticks to keep you moving. So what we're going to do is you're going to just start at one side of your wreath here, and we're just going to sort of start to overlap alternating colors like this, and just kind of overlap them all the way around. If we have a few extra, we can kind of glue them on top here and there. But what we're gonna do is just start to sort of work our way around with our leaves, okay? So let's grab our first one. And now, if you're using a metal form like I am, you're gonna have some drip through. It's okay. For the most part, if you do something on a smooth surface, you can peel the glue off. If you're on like a nice wood table or a surface that you do not want to mess up, you might want to put some kind of a mat down or work on an old surface, okay? But you might get a little bit of drip through. All right, so let's grab our first leaf here. I'm going to straighten it out a little bit. You can also, if you want to, glue onto the surface and kind of place your leaf. So you could glue here, or you could glue right on the leaf. Now you don't want to do a ton of it, just enough to get a little bit on there. And I'm going to just do kind of like a, I'm not going to go in a straight line all the way around. I'm just going to kind of do like one this way and one this way and so forth, okay? So we'll do our next leaf. My glue gun is ancient. I actually showed my newer one at the beginning, but this old pink one that I have is so super old, but it works the best. It gets really, really hot. Some of them don't get hot enough for me. I like when they're really, really hot and they melt that glue. So anyway, I tend to always plug my new one in, and then I'll switch over to my super, super old one. So I'm just alternating the colors as well. You know, sort of like mix up those colors a little bit. See, I'm doing like the mustard, then the orange, then the cream, and so forth. If you have a little less of one color, don't add it as often as some of the other ones, okay? Whoops, this one should be going this way. Okay, and then you can kind of like, if you're doing a color pattern like I am, you can kind of repeat when you get around. And then when you're finished your wreath and you've gotten everything the way you want it to look, you can go back through. If there's something lifting up, you could tuck a little bit of glue underneath as well. So just kind of go all the way around with your little leaves. And fill in your wreath form. And be very careful with hot glue. It's so super hot. You definitely don't want to burn yourself. I've gotten some really terrible fingertip burns using hot glue guns because, you know, we go to press something down or what have you, and it just gets you. So just be very, very careful when you use these things. Okay, so I'm going to keep going all the way around with mine, and then we'll rejoin. I'm going to show you what it looks like when we're finished. So our wreath is finished, and it looks beautiful, and it's ready to hang. Now, what you can do is you can grab a little pair of scissors. Now you can see all the glue here. If you have some glue that's sort of sticking out and you're not crazy about it, you can actually trim the glue with scissors if you need to, if it's not laying flat. And I did have a few extra leaves. You know, you can use them for something else. I just made a bunch of them. You could be a little bit more exacting and plan your leaves a little bit. But if you want to make a hanging loop, let me just show you how to do that. Cut a piece of yarn. I would say that's about 8 or 9 inches. Fold it in half. Determine where you want the top of your wreath to be. And then what you can do is take a little piece of yarn and run that loop in the top and go like that and just give it like a nice knot. I made mine pretty short because I don't want it to show too much. And then just trim, and you're ready to hang your wreath, okay? So that is how you make a beautiful falling leaves wreath. Thanks so much for watching, and be sure and click the subscribe button to get all the latest Fiberflux video updates. Thanks again.